In the show today, we'll hear from Chris Barry, Vice President of Enterprise and Partner Group at Microsoft Canada, on cloud adoption in Canadian businesses and how companies can move to the next level.
The great thing with the cloud is that it can be consumed at a level and in a way that makes sense for organizations of all size. And you pay for what you use, which is great.
Welcome to Whirlwind Radio. I'm your host, Marcelo Sugdeo. A few days ago at the Microsoft Tech Summit that was held in Toronto, my colleague Nestor Arellano from IT in Canada caught up with Chris Barry from Microsoft Canada to talk about a survey which reveals that many Canadian businesses intend to implement a digital strategy in 2017, but they still have some doubt about migrating workloads to the cloud. This is an insightful interview, especially for SMBs who are in the process of migrating to the cloud or are looking at doing this in the near future. We are excited to share this interview with you today, so here we go.
Thank you very much, Chris, for taking the time out for your busy schedule in the show to join us in our show and talk about the cloud and the challenges that many Canadian businesses are going through today.
Yeah, no, great, Nestor. Thanks for having me here. And as I mentioned, today is our Microsoft Technology Summit, which is part of a 17-city global tour. And our timing in doing this is really correlated to the movement we see broadly with our customers moving to the cloud. And so, they are increasingly seeing the opportunity they have with respect to being able to build new businesses or operate their business more efficiently, engaging customers in different ways. At the same time, of course, they're finding that it's a journey of learning, right? And so we did field, as I mentioned, a survey recently in Canada of 700 technology executives, which found that, for example, of them, 71% of them say that implementing a digital strategy to help increase the velocity of their business is very important. Further, 68% are already using the cloud, and 81% believe that a digital strategy is very important to them in the coming year. But there are concerns and there are questions, and they fall primarily into two buckets around security and privacy. And we, Microsoft, along with the ecosystem, have made a tremendous number of investments, which are the areas we've been discussing today. And so while there's challenges relative to moving to cloud, those are offset by the massive opportunity that our customers in the industry more broadly is seeing.
Well, that's it. Cloud has been with us for maybe a good 20 years or so now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've been running Hotmail since 1998, for example, right?
Well, the businesses know that there's a huge opportunity there still. Yeah. But what are the things, what are the hurdles that they're facing? Why suddenly, now that we have all these developments, IoT, mobile technology, where there's a bigger push for you to get in there, what's keeping them out?
Well, it's a couple of factors. One is customers to varying degrees are on just frankly a journey of learning about becoming more comfortable with cloud computing in general. And so, what we see prototypically is customers beginning with, basic workloads. It could be storage or disaster recovery and that type of thing. And then as they begin to learn the types of security frameworks that we put in place, the types of investments we make in securing our data centers from the physical layer all the way through the logical layer, the $1 billion of R&D that we spend every year on security, customers, once they go through that and understand the regulatory frameworks, the attestations and certifications that we get, that they're not able to invest to the same degree. And whether they be a small business, a medium-sized business, or a very large enterprise, they can leverage the security of our cloud and take advantage of those level of investments in ways and shapes that they just couldn't fundamentally do for themselves. But it is a journey of learning, right? And it's human nature to want to, keep data, your own information, which is some of our most important assets. And so it's a bit of a logical leap to realize that a hyperscale cloud provider like Microsoft can actually do that better and more effectively than they can themselves. And it is just a process of becoming more and more comfortable, typically by just trying it out in some small way and then going further on the journey.
Yeah, so let's do an example. Let's say I'm a small, medium-sized business, Canadian, based in Canada. Maybe I don't have the infrastructure, but I want to get to the next level.
Yeah.
take my business to the next level. How can Microsoft help me?
Yeah, well, we can in a number of ways. Many small businesses, for example, take advantage of our productivity cloud, which we call Office 365, right? Which you think of as being the office productivity tools, along with things like our email service, Exchange Online, our SharePoint Online, Link for communications, or Skype for Business rather, as well. And so many small businesses take advantage of that to allow them to collaborate and work productively and invest in a level of collaboration tools that they just simply couldn't instantiate for themselves in an economical way. And that's a place where oftentimes they may get started, is on the productivity side. And once they get comfortable with the service level agreements, the uptime, the reliability, the new scenarios that it unlocks in terms of them becoming more productive, and for sure many of these customers have been using Office products for many years, then they begin to look at our two other clouds, meaning our Azure cloud, as well as our Dynamics 365 cloud, which includes our business applications like ERP and CRM. And so it's just, we have offerings that are really, built, and the great thing with the cloud is that it can be consumed at a level and in a way that makes sense for organizations of all size. And, you pay for what you use, which is great. And so small businesses are able to jump in and get productive immediately across any of those three clouds to help find new customers, help retain customers, run marketing campaigns, serve their customers with tools like CRM and so forth, but do it in a way that makes sense for the size of their business, and then scale it as their business scales. So if they have a product launch and it's wildly successful, and there's a concern their servers may be overrun, they're able to quickly add on more cores and more VMs to go ahead and address those customers in real time.
Now, a lot of Canadian companies are very particular about where their data resides, their customer data resides. What's Microsoft doing about that? What can Microsoft do?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And, one of the things that we have done, here in Canada, of course, we have a number of, regulatory requirements that affect certain industries, financial services, as an example, among others. And then there's just the comfort level, frankly, just the psychological comfort level that customers want to know that their data is residing within Canada. And so we, Microsoft, have invested in 2 data centers here in Canada that were opened up in May, one here in Ontario as well as one in Quebec. And so that is really to address the needs of our Canadian customers and helping ensure that their data stays within Canada. And we think that's a very important, for our customers anywhere in the world to have assurances about where their data resides, and we treat with transparency, where their data is at any given time. We're the only company that, for example, has a cloud in China, for example, and we have a sovereign cloud in Germany. And while that's not Canada, those are examples of us making specific investments to address those marketplaces as well.
One final thought. 2 weeks ago, we had news about the DDoS attack that knocked off Spotify, Twitter, and other social media outlets out there. This sort of revealed what they call sort of a soft underside of the cloud. How, as a business, how can I be assured that my data, my network is going to be safe if I take my workload to the cloud?
Well, a couple thoughts there. One, Microsoft was not a target of that most recent DDoS attack. We, as mentioned, invest very deeply in security, not just for the sake of our own products, but for the benefit of the entire ecosystem. And we do it in terms of helping detect threats wherever they are, using what we call our intelligent security graph, which is leveraging all of the machine learning, all of the hundreds of millions of data points and billions of security events that occur within our own security structure every day. And then we help protect customers throughout, and that's not just our own customers, but rather the entire ecosystem. So that's helping pass on to others known bad IP addresses, as an example, and then we help them respond, right? And so it's sort of 3 layers to it. The bad guys will always continue to innovate, right? And so we are in an arms race, and that arms race won't go away. But we, Microsoft, are committed to continuing to invest deeply in making technologies as secure as possibly can.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your time.
Great.
That was Nestor Arellano from IT in Canada, speaking with Chris Barry, Vice President of Enterprise and Partner Group at Microsoft Canada, on cloud adoption for Canadian businesses. As highlighted during this interview, cloud has been with us for over 2 decades. And today, businesses are seeing the opportunities available in migrating to the cloud, which, as Chris pointed out, is a journey of learning as companies become more comfortable with cloud computing. But yet, there are two major concerns: security and privacy. And these concerns are keeping most small businesses back from moving in the direction of cloud. Microsoft has invested millions of dollars to strengthen security measures and to keep privacy in place to offset these concerns. But this layer of security is something that most companies cannot do by themselves because of financial constraints. So it makes sense to use a secured cloud platform from a tech giant like Microsoft to migrate to the cloud to keep data secure and private. For more information, please visit cloud.microsoft.com. Thanks to Nestor Arellano and Chris Barry for today's interview. Also thanks to our production manager, Lasky Hart. From all of us here at Whirlwind Radio, this is Marcelo Sugdeo saying stay safe in the technology whirlwind.